So I was driving to the airport in my friend's car. And back in the day, the airport, you had to go through to take a shortcut. You could go through these country roads and cotton fields and so forth down in Texas to get to DFW airport. And I was driving my friend's car and I was doing 55 or maybe a little more. And the front right tire blew out. And like, bam, and I saw the tires blowing out. And the car lurches towards the agricultural ditch. It's farmland. So there's a road and then an agricultural ditch and then farmland. And so I see it. I don't want to go into the ditch. So I overcorrect this way. And I go back across. It's 2 lanes, 1 lane each way, right? And then oncoming traffic is a big, giant 18-wheeler. So as I pull back, I'm going across. He's coming at me. He misses me, which is great, right? And I go into the agricultural ditch over here. The car nose hits the ditch and the car rolls 6 or 7 times. And the amazing thing is that I got one little scratch on my butt from a piece of glass from the broken window. I mean, it was incredible. I felt so lucky, so blessed, so amazing to just be alive that my neck didn't break, my back didn't break, climbed out the window. The car was a total wreck. Farmer comes over. He was about a quarter mile away doing something. He comes over and goes, I thought you were messing around with my field, but now I see what happened, right? Because it was clear at that point. And it was just amazing. I felt so lucky just to be alive. And that's not the first time something like that has happened. That's actually, I've had 4 of those kinds of situations in my life where I probably should have, could have, might have died. And in fact, I'm here today in pretty good shape for a guy who's coming up on 63. So, hey, welcome. Today, I'm here with my buddy Morris.
Hi, Jonathan.
And we are talking about the luckiest people alive. You might just be one of the luckiest people alive. In fact, I'm going to here to tell you that you are already one of the luckiest people alive. To be alive in this time, with all these resources, with all this information available, with all these skills available for free, and all the things you can be and do and have are unbelievable. 100 years ago, nobody had any of this. 25 years ago, your phone, if you have an iPhone or an Android that's like not more than 6 or 7 years old, 25 years ago, they couldn't even imagine something so powerful and so amazing. And yet you have it right in your hands. But that's just the start. So Morris, we've been talking about me and all of my luck. Let me ask you, have you ever been lucky in your life? And tell us about it.
Yeah, there was one instance where I almost drowned. I was like 4 or 5 years young, and
Wow.
my mom and grandmother didn't notice me walk away, and I fell into the pond. And then I don't know for how long I was in there, but they finally spotted me just floating on the water, and they pulled me out. And
What?
so yeah, that was me being very, very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay. And did you learn to swim?
Yes. Meanwhile, I learned how to swim. Yeah.
So it's not just surviving a car accident that's lucky. There's all kinds of luck. We think of those big things as the only form of luck, like the people who win the lottery or the people who survive a car accident or who whatever. But the fact of the matter is our days are filled with a tremendous amount of little tiny lucks, right? Are we lucky enough to live in an era where you have health or where you have hot and cold running water in your house, or you have food, or you have electricity? These are incredibly lucky to be alive and have access to these things because they form the fundamental basis of everything else you want to build for your life. So we're lucky all the time. And the fact of the matter is that we create our own luck. That's the real thing to notice. Now, there's 2 ways to go through life. One of them is just sort of passively floating down the stream of life, merrily, 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 and letting things happen to you and not recognizing how much influence you have and how much you can create what you want. What do I mean by that? Well, if you probably didn't get to choose your high school. You probably didn't get to choose your parents, although some people say you do, but you probably didn't get a chance to choose your parents or your siblings, whatever. However, once you are, let's say, 18 years old, you have a lot of choice to go choose. Do I want to go to community college or learn a trade or go to university or whatever? And the one you choose is going to have a huge difference for you in your life. It's going to actually create a series of downstream lucks and opportunities that you can take advantage of. So for example, Morris, you went to one university, but if you'd gone to the University of Tokyo, or if you'd gone to Harvard, or if you'd gone to the University of Lima, Peru, you'd have a totally different set of friends, different priorities, probably a different major in the end of the day. And maybe you would have married someone different, and on and on and on. All these things create these new patterns in your life that you are either the effect of or the cause of, right? So choosing wisely brings you more luck. Making poor choices brings you a lack of luck, unluckiness, right? Does that make sense?
Jonathan, what do you think the luckiest people have in common?
I think they have a positive attitude. I think they have an openness and a sense of possibility. My brother-in-law is one of the most successful people I've ever met. Happy, positive guy, super smart, really cool. And I asked him a question. I said, what do you attribute some of your success to in life? And he says, I figured that when a door was opened in front of me, I should walk through it. In other words, when an opportunity arose for me to maybe improve or grow or change or try a new business or something like that, I should at least check it out and find out what's in there. And that leads to the adage that says, if you don't go, you won't know. So you've got to try. You've got to see what's possible. And of course, some people think, well, it's not possible for me, it's possible for you. Well, okay, sure, except, Les Brown, the famous motivational speaker, said, he says, there's a bus leaving just about any town you don't like to someplace that's better. Meaning, it doesn't take more than a bus ticket to change your life, to get out of that town and to move to someplace better. And if you're watching this video on a mobile phone, on a device, on a laptop, computer, PC, whatever, you're pretty lucky. You have more compute power. You have ChatGPT, free versions of all kinds of AI, millions of hours of learning online. We can literally create anything we want. We can learn anything. You can learn a language for free. You can get a college degree practically for free. There's almost nothing you can't do if you have the motivation. So another piece is that perspective organizes experience. And let me say this quickly. So if you turn the corner downtown in a big city and you see a woman coming out of a hotel and a man looks like a street guy rushing up to her, you think, is he going to steal from her? Is he going to take her purse? And then next you look up and you see the building above her, there's a piano, and two of the cables holding the piano that crane was moving up to the top floor have broken and the piano's dangling. So he's trying to push her back in the building to save her. And then you go, wow, what a great guy he is. And then you hear, cut, okay, Morris, let's roll the video one more time. We're going to do it again. Now, when you rush towards the building and you're like, oh my God, it's just a movie. So he's not a thief. He's not a hero. He's an actor. But in the perspective that you take from each one of those three perspectives, your worldview is different about what's happening. And the fact of the matter is, many people have difficult childhoods. Many people go through trauma. Many people go through difficult times, divorces, they get fired, they lose jobs. And everything is a perspective about that. Yes, these things happen to us. I had some very unfortunate things happen in my life. Some very terrible things happen in my life. And what I learned was they made me stronger. So one of the things that we do, and I don't know if you'll use this information if you want to use it, but one of the things that we do in some of the courses that I've created is we go back and we rewrite our story from the standpoint of what did I learn? How did I grow? How did it benefit me? Right? What did I learn? How did I grow? How did it benefit me? So you may have a superhero strength that came from a tragic event or a difficult loss, or you grew and learned more about yourself, or you became more interested in something else. We just don't know the influences. When something happens to us, is it really happening for us? And that's a really big question.
How much responsible are we for our own luck? Is it 100%, 50%?
It's a great question. First, you have to recognize that you are the one with the paddle in the boat, not just in the boat floating down the stream all by yourself, right? The fact of the matter is, when you make a choice, you're engaging in creating luck, or at least an outcome, versus just passively, letting someone else decide your luck. So I think that there's a huge amount of intention that can go into it. If you sit down and decide, that's why people they pick goals, they plan, they strategize, they learn about the environment, they learn about what it takes. For example, we talked about this before, which is that it might take you 3 to 4 years to get a black belt. And most people say, if I had known it was going to be this hard in this much time, I never would have started it. But then they say, it was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. And then when they finally get the black belt, they say, wow, I'm so glad I stayed in it long enough to get the black belt, because it's changed who I am, maybe more confident, stronger, more skills, etc. Right? So it's the same way with just about everything in life. You can become more lucky by deciding what you want. If you don't have deep clarity on what you want, if you don't know where to go to get it, to find it, to learn it, to go do it, then you're not going to be very lucky. The second thing is that you want to go ahead and intend to learn. We talked about this before with the other video where we talked about the levels of learning and the process of learning. Decide that you're willing to learn and go through the hard part. It's like, let's say that there was a goal you wanted and it was 50 feet away and you had to go through mud that's up to your waist to get to it. Would you do it? Depends upon the goal, right? If the goal is to become a millionaire, you'll run through the mud. You'll swim through the mud. If the goal is just to get a cookie, you're like, well, I don't think I'm going to ruin my clothes and get all muddy for a cookie in 50 feet of mud. No way, right? So it depends upon what you want and how bad you want it. And that's why cultivating curiosity, cultivating interest, cultivating desire, cultivating a willingness to, like as we showed with the video, to look foolish, to learn, to grow, and to fail, right? If you think about people say, well, Steve Jobs, right, and Bill Gates were so lucky. Sure, they were lucky. They had parents with means and education and so forth. But you know what they had more of anything else? A desire to accomplish, to achieve, and a willingness to suffer. So whether you like these guys or not doesn't matter. At the point, they're just emblematic of what a lucky person is in our minds and our society. You look at Jeff Bezos with Amazon. He suffered for a decade of stress and late nights working at, originally his desk was a card table and he taped up on the wall the word Amazon. I mean, he was suffering and he was broke and everything else. Brendan Bouchard, when he went out and started to build his business, horribly broke, unsuccessful. His wife paid the bills, but he was willing to suffer and have the humiliation, in some sense, of his wife paying the bills while he did the work to build his business. In other words, what are you willing to tolerate? What's your risk tolerance? What's your ability to suffer for a goal, not just suffering for suffering, but suffering for a goal so you can get to where you want to go? And then be willing to say, oops, I put the ladder on the wrong wall. I need to move it over here. I'll try again. Because when I was early on, I was doing business law for small businesses and eventually bankruptcies because so many businesses fail. The people that were most successful were not the ones who started successful. They're the one that just kept going. I have a friend in Florida, and he's what they call a 20-year overnight success. Guy's fabulously successful. I think he probably pulls down over $1 million a year, mostly through the internet, mostly through relatively passive income at this point. But it took him 20 years of trying all these different business ideas to get there. And I have so much respect for the fact that he was willing to tolerate failure and loss. I mean, moving into a one-room apartment after losing one business and losing a girlfriend because he was broke and all these things. And yet he persisted. And now he lives on $1 million boat, has a beautiful condo, amazing partner. He's just living the dream. But it took him 20 years to get there.
So surviving a car accident and building $1 million business through passive income, aren't these like two separate ways of describing luck?
Yes. There's kind of like the, not passive luck, but I guess, if you're born in first class, it's a lot easier in a lot of ways for some things, but not for everything, right? So the number one denominator for luck in America is what zip code you're born into, right? Because that designates what schools you have, the kind of relationships that are around you, your parents' type of relationships. The second is whether your parents divorce or don't divorce. The third is whether you go to university or not and which one you go to. So there's all sorts of preconditions that help set people up for success. But really the most important kind of luck is recognizing that you have in your brain the ability to imagine the future you want, to visualize the future you want, to plan and strategize and say, what is it going to take? How do I get there? What are the things that are going to happen? What are the resources I need? How resourceful can I be? Who can help me, right? As Dr. Benjamin Hardy says, it's who, not how.
If we were to survey and interview all the people, millions of people who were born in the right zip code, parents didn't divorce, they went to the best schools, how many of them would genuinely, truly feel lucky today?
Probably a lot of them would feel lucky, but maybe more would feel entitled, which is a whole different story, right? I think I've also seen a lot of kids from wildly successful, very rich families fail because what they didn't understand is they control their environment, right? So they got this wonderful first-class ride all the way up to here, then they get out into the real world and they can't manage because no one taught them the basic fundamental skills of agency, of agency, of creating a path that you want, of imagining your future, of working hard for it. So if you carry your child to the finish line, they'll never run the next race successfully.
And then how would you define the luckiest people alive then?
I think luck starts with happiness.
Mm.
And it starts with unhappiness. What do I mean by that? So I feel, knowing that I survived several things where I might have and probably could have, would have, and should have died, the fact of the matter is I feel lucky to be alive every day. And because of that, I feel happy to be alive every day. Because I understand I can go create something. I can create an ebook. I can create a video with Morris. I can go help someone with my hypnotherapy and my smoking cessation. I can do all these things because I decided to do them. And I decided to go create them. And I realized that luck isn't just, being alive isn't just luck. It's amazing. And so when you're alive, you want to go seize the day, carpe diem, right? You want to go find out, what can I do? What can I be? How can I do it? And then go into create it. I think so. The luckiest people in the world, they're positive and they're also grateful. And because of that, they're happy. And when you're happy, the world opens up for happy people. The world opens up for happy, kind, gracious people. Not pushovers, but people who know who they are, know what they want, and they're happy, kind, gracious, cooperative. They give back. These are the most lucky people in the world.
And the way you're talking about it, I understand that it's people who create their own happiness and their own positivity. When they wake up in the morning, whether the shoulder hurts or it's raining or sunshine or they feel great, they still find a way to feel happy and positive despite everything else. Is this what you're describing as the luckiest people alive?
Yes. Yes. I've met people who were, in the Zen Buddhist world that were, and I've met a couple of monks, totally happy people. They own nothing physically, but they're super happy and grateful to be alive. On the other hand, I've met people who are very, very wealthy and they're not happy. It's like, so, you happy. There's an old saying that says, change must come from within. Happiness comes from within. All of this comes from within. And if you want something, go get it. Find a way to ethically, morally, wisely go get what you want. Let me give you an example. I have a guy I used to work with, super smart guy. And he decided that college was the place he was most likely to have the best choice of picking a life partner, a wife, because he wanted to have a fun, wonderful, happy wife. And he wanted to have kids. So he knew I should pick someone who I should pick from the biggest group of people I can get to, which is in college. So that's what he did. He says, I'm not here to sleep around. I'm not here just to date. I'm here to find the right girl for me to marry. And that's what he did. And now he just retired and they've been together. Now they're having an amazing retirement. They have 2 kids with grandkids and all that. And they're super happy because he intended at the beginning of his experience to go create the life stream that he wanted. And he did.
So clarity allows us to create our own luck. Is that what you're saying?
It helps. There's a lot of things that feed into it, right? And being clear about what you want and who you are is really powerful. It's transformative because then you're not bothered by someone else having a Ferrari. If I'm not a Ferrari guy, I'm a Ford F-150 with all the cool gear on it. That's the kind of guy I am, right? Or I like horses. I don't really care about having a condo at a high rise in New York City. I want to have 2 horses on 10 acres in upstate Vermont. Whatever your thing is, right? So knowing what you want, finding your happiness, being prepared to take chances. If a door opens an opportunity, at least go look at it, and then being strategic about having a goal and taking action on your goal over and over and over and over again.
When I asked you for the topic today of this episode, you told me that you want to talk about creating our own luck. Why are you so passionate about this subject?
Because I see so many people that don't feel lucky because they're comparing themselves to other. They have so much personal power. They have so many resources. They have so many skills, and yet they don't feel lucky. And they don't feel happy. And I'm like, dude, you can just go create it. Are you kidding? You have all this. It's like saying, I have my iPhone or I have my phone and I want to watch a video, but I don't know how. Like, we'll find out how. It's right in front of you. You have it in your hands. All of us, life goes very quickly. And, I'm in my 60s now, which is a surprise to me. But the fact of the matter is, I'm still just as happy as I was when I was 20. Maybe I'm happier, right? Because I'm more fulfilled by making a difference in the world. People can be happy. People can be successful. People can be fulfilled. It just takes a decision to do so and figuring out what that means for you.
It almost sounds like happiness and luckiness can be learned and practiced.
Absolutely. Happiness and luckiness can be learned. That's exactly right. Yes.
And so in summary, how can we learn it?
How do we learn the skill of happiness and luck? Practice, try, learn about it. I mean, the number one thing is learning about it. What do all happy people have in common? What do all lucky people have in common? Across all the kinds of people that there are, across all the different experiences in life, what makes someone happy, right? What makes someone lucky? Well, first of all, if you feel lucky, you are. How's that for crazy? If you feel lucky, you are lucky. If you feel happy, you are happy. It's raining outside. Wow, wonderful. The rain is nourishing the earth again. How fantastic. Oh, it's sunny out. Fantastic. The grass is growing because of the sun. Oh, I have to mow the lawn. No, I get to mow the lawn, which means I have a lawnmower and a lawn. How amazing is that, right? So perspective organizes experience. Your perspective on it. Be grateful. Be appreciative. Be curious. Be happy. It's so simple.
So if we want to change the perspective and feel happy today, but then all these things that annoy us stop us from feeling happy, then it's easy to say, oh, this doesn't work or it doesn't work for me. But as you said, it's the practice. So practicing this every day again and again, over time, we can actually learn it.
Yeah. Failure is just data. I mean, obviously, failure at 55 miles an hour is a bad kind of failure, right? Or ask any pilot. Failure can be bad as a pilot. But the fundamental truth is that failure is data, and that's how we learn. If I keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and getting the same results, then something is wrong with the way I'm thinking about it, right? It's like, no, I need to think differently about it. So you want to modify, adapt, change wisely, figure out why am I failing? Failure is not bad. We punish failure for two reasons. One is that people don't understand that failure is actually data and the way we improve, right? The second reason is because people are trying to control others. So they're punishing them for their failure because they want them to stay the same, right? So one of the things that they know is if you put a bucket of crabs together, if one tries to claw out, the others pull it down. And it may be that a lot of people in their life feel like that the community that they're in, the people that they're around, don't want them to succeed, want them to stay just in the same emotional tone that they're in, which is, I'm a victim, or I'm failing, or I can't, or our kind of people don't do that, or it wouldn't be right to do that. However, if you think it's right, forget what they say. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Who cares? They just happen to be the people that are around you. Go find better people, right? Go to Toastmasters, join a positive group of people, do something with your church or synagogue or mosque, whatever it is for you, man. Go find your people. Go find happy, positive people, hang out with them. Because guess what will happen? You'll become happier and more positive and have a lot more opportunities in life with those people than the people that say it can't be done.
Really, the key is to actually live it. And it's so hard to do alone. This is where I feel like having the courage to reach out to someone like you or any other coach or professional or whatever, to just take that first step and say, I want someone to help me improve. And in your practice, you work with a lot of smokers, right? How does feeling lucky and happy play into these smokers' lives?
That's a good question because most people who are smokers that haven't quit, that want to quit, feel like they're victims of their own behavior and they don't know how to stop it. So they get in a loop. And the fundamental thing is to say, I'm going to get lucky by quitting. I'm going to get lucky by trying to quit, by learning how to quit, by learning the tools. That creates luck in their life because what we're really doing, and I know this is I'm kind of like giving you a peek behind the curtain here, but the fact of the matter is helping people stop smoking is less about them stopping smoking than it is about them realizing that they have personal power. That they can take charge of their body, they can take charge of their physiology, they can take charge of their emotions, and they can actually do what they want. They can pick up the coffee cup over here, move it to the other hand, and put it down over here. They can do it even though they think they can't, even though they might have failed 100 times to quit smoking. The fact of the matter is we teach them how to be back in the driver's seat of their life, get out of the passenger seat and get back in the driver's seat of their life. That's what we teach them. And by doing so, they're going to feel happier and luckier and like they can be, do, and have more because being, doing, and having more is just a skill.
And where can they learn that skill?
Well, if you're a smoker, you can learn it at stopsmokingforever.life. And if you're not a smoker, don't start just to get the information because we're going to teach it to you right here on our YouTube channel and our podcasts. And we've got a couple of cool courses coming out really soon. So